Another episode. Sorry for the lengthy episode last time. I'm going to try to keep this one shorter, and we're at the tail end of this project. On the last episode, we did discover a couple different issues, and I've discovered those are mostly just Mac related. Again, I build all of this on Windows and then kind of rebuild it on my Mac environment. And so I kind of wanted to touch base on what we're dealing with. Like if you're on a Windows, it would have worked, but Mac is a little bit different. So last time we left off, we had all of this done. And basically we would roll. We couldn't tell if a button was disabled or not, and kind of wanted to go through that. And also when we disabled a button, the re-enable button was not working, and I have fixes for all of it. So really quickly, we went and we created that right-click event. Try to find that real quick, and all we did was do event.widget state is equal to normal. You could tell when something is disabled on the Windows environment when you run Python, not so much on Mac for some reason. So basically, we're going to do this for, we're going to do event widget configure highlight background is equal to white. This is basically the reset. We'll highlight it a different color when it is disabled, so people know, hey, this is disabled. So that's part of the issue. The second part was this button 2. Technically, what yours should say button 3. I am on Mac. A right click is button 2. On Windows, a right click is button 3. And I have that in my notes down here. Button 2 is on Mac. Button 3 is on Windows. There's only 2 spots where we have this. It's going to be in this roll dice section where we create a label to display the image. If you're on Mac, change that to a button 2. If you're on Windows, button 3. If we go back up to the top, same deal. Button 2 for Mac, button 3 if you're on Windows. And then before we dive in, we did do that highlight background. When we go to, if you go to that function dice read, up top we had highlight background white. That's the reset. But when it's disabled, let's go ahead and make that highlight background red. And also, I've been just doing the simple code of red. You can do hex codes in here of whatever you want, but it does understand basic colors. So with all that, let me kick off the program, just show you the fixes and what they look like on Mac. So all of these are disabled. We hit roll, we see things change. Oh look, it's a 1, 2, and a 3. You can see that red background means they're disabled. So we can roll and those won't do anything. Now I can right click button 2, right click button 3 if you're on Windows, and then we can roll again, and you can see all those numbers changed. None of these buttons do anything at the moment, but that is what this episode is all about. So let's go ahead and dive in. I'm recording this right after I just did the last episode. YouTube doesn't like me to put URLs in my description yet, so you might not get the buttons right away. But let me show you where the buttons are. If you really are that interested, you can look up. I just looked up, hey, dice download PNG transparent background. This is the website I used. You have to download them one by one. However, if you want to kind of have the same product and the same subsample of the 8.8, which is right there, I know that for a fact that would look like mine if you went to this website and downloaded each of the dice. Each of the die, rather. But, yeah. So that's that. Once when YouTube verifies all my information, I will have my GitHub URL and my and that dice URL in the descriptions. But enough talking. Let's get into it. Let us go down. So this is going to be not super lengthy, but it's going to be a lot of information. And basically what I want to do is we have that def pushed, that function. I'm just going to rip that out since this is going to be a long function. I'm just going to paste it at the bottom, still above that window main loop, but just so we have some room to work with and you're not getting all this stuff in the way. Again, what we're going to do is we're going to do that global, and you can copy, like I said, you can copy all this. There will be a couple more we add, and so let me just do that. So we have our roll count, roll counter, roll button, all dice, current dice numbers, scores, disabled scores, and bonus scores. Make sure you get all those in the global section. It might be overkill for some of them, but a lot of them are necessary for this section to work. And basically, this section, I don't love the name pushed for a function name, but I did it and never changed it. And basically resets back to start. And again, I have this program mostly completed in a very prototyped way, but there is no like, oh, you finished the game, save your score kind of deal like that. It is a little lackluster in there. And maybe I'll go back and do like a pop-up like, hey, do you want to play again? And you can hit play again and it restarts the whole thing. Those are really easy to do. I'm happy to do another episode on that if people are interested. But so right now we have that global. Really, we can get rid of these. That was just for peace of mind for me. And so what we're going to do is we're going to do a total is equal to 0. That'll help us get all the points that someone deserves when filling it out. Roll count will be equal to 0. Roll counter, which we should all be pretty familiar with from the last episode, is going to be text. And you can copy and paste this, but it's easy for me just to type it out. It's literally right here, though. Roll number, and we're going to do that colon space quote plus string, and we're going to do roll count. And we do that. And then we're just going to make that roll button state is equal to normal. So that helps reset everything back to what we need. So it sets the score to 0 so we can kind of start from the beginning. So if I did aces on that first rolls and I got a score of 3, then the total goes back to 0. That 3 stays there though, and then I can kind of continue going back through and iterating through. And basically all the dice go back. The roll number goes from 3 to 0, and the roll button becomes enabled again. And what I like to do is just like with sections like that, I do like resets back to start, and then I'll do like an end so I know that's the section. This part gonna be a little confusing, but if you stick with me, it makes life so much easier. So this is going to be the counters for calculating score. It's going to be a lot, but again, stick with me. It makes a lot of sense in the long run and makes life a lot easier. So we're going to do counter 1 is going to be dice, current dice, numbers dot count, and we're going to do we have to do our file path. So this might be a little weird, but let me go up. Let me grab this. Just the path. And again, you can set the path as a global variable if you want. I did not, but we're going to do that. And we are actually going to tell it which one we're going to do. So that's going to be dice 1. Copy this. And you're going to paste it 5 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So you're going to have 6 of them total. 3, 4, 5, and 6. And then make sure you change these accordingly. I'll kind of explain this as we go on, but just know that That current dice numbers, we were collecting file names, and basically we're just creating a counter where we're counting how many times does 1.png show up, 2.png show up, 3.png, and there's a nice little graphic that we can do. So after this, we just do counters and we throw them all in a list. Counter 1, counter 2, counter 3, counter 4, counter 5, and counter 6. And then I'll show you what that looks like when we run this program, but for right now we'll do that. And like I said, if you like that kind of principle, that's it for the counters. In line with that print, now we are going to do scoring. And I broke up the scoring a little bit. So I did 1 through 6 and bonus, because those will be the easiest to calculate. So what we do is if name of score is equal to aces. So what we are doing, name of scores here, we pass that through when we created the scores. So here are the scores. This is basically, we're passing the scores I name. And if we go all the way up to the top, the scores name is 4 of a kind, 3 of a kind, bonus, 6s, 5s, 4s, 3s, 2s, and aces. So basically what we are doing is saying, hey, if this score name is aces, we're in aces. So we're going to do if counter 1. So we're just looking for dice 1, any dice that says 1.png. If counter 1 is equal to, is greater than 0, we're going to do total is equal to counter 1 times 1. And then we're going to do else. The total is 0. So if you don't have any aces but you click it, you're going to get a 0. And then for all of these, I did this, and I'm going to copy it in from my other program, but I will go over them. Global's score box state is disabled. So score box we also pass through. It's basically the variable of that button instance. And after you select aces for the first time, that score box will no longer be available since you already used it. So we're going to do that, and basically we make that happen still by adding that score box to disabled scores. And then I hard-coded the button label 0 to configure the text score. So if I had 3 1 dices in my turn, then the total will be 3. And then you can see the bonus score plus equals total. Stick with me again. Hopefully this makes more sense, especially when you start seeing it in action. And then, yeah, so we'll do the first 6, and then you can kind of see what we're doing. Yep, I'm just checking everything, sorry. And really, if you wanted to, copy this. You're changing very little. Instead of that, we do 2s. Instead of counter 1, it's that. Instead of counter 1, it is that. And instead of times 1, it is times 2. And then that button label goes to a 1. Since we started at 0, it goes to a 1. Save. Go ahead. Copy it. I like to have that one little space in between. Paste it. This one's going to be 3. And we're just doing 3s. Again, 3. Oops, sorry. If counter 3 is greater than 0, and then we're going to do counter 3, and we're going to do times 3. And then instead of button label 1, we'll do that one. Copy, and I mean I have this copied. I don't need to recopy it every time, but we're going to do 4. 4s. 4. 4 and 4. and then we change this to a 3. Let's do 2 more, and then we'll run it. We do 5. This will be called 5s. 5, 5, 5. This is 4. It's confusing because you subtract 1 every time for the button label, but that's just what we named it. 6s, we go 6, 6, 6, and this will be 5. So that is what those look like. We're going to save that, and we're going to just run it for right now. And I will pop this up. And I will pop this up. We are going to roll. You see all the buttons became available. Well, it sucks because we do have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We do have a large straight, but for right now, let's try to stick with these top ones. So let's just do a 1 for right now. And I will unselect 1, and it looks like we have more 5s, and we'll do 5s. And it looks like we got 4s now, but let's just go with 5s. It looks like we have an error. Name counter is not defined. That is interesting. If I go back into here, that is going to be on line 164. 164 counters. Did I not spell something right? That would be pretty typical. Let me just change that. Oh, I have just counter. That's silly me. Counter 3. Okay, now let's try to run it. And if we roll, we have a lot of 2s. We'll select those 2s. We have a lot of 1s, but so let's just stick with 2s. If I hit 2s, so you can see it goes down the line. So imagine this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. In terms of this is dice1.png, dice2.png, dice3.png, 4, 5, and 6. So it's saying we have 1 6 die, which is right here. We have 2 5 dies, so 1 and 2. We have no 4 dies, correct. If you look up here, no 4s. No 3 dies, correct. We have 2 2 dies, that is correct, and no 1 dies. So that's what the print counters does, which I love. I think that's a really cool way of displaying how all this works. And you can see we got the correct number. When it comes to all these, you just add up what you have. So the reason we did multiplication, so if we did counter 2 times 2, is if you have 2 2 dices, you're going to just multiply that by 2 to get 4, and so on. So we do need to clear off when that happens. But we're still working at this. So and so you can kind of see if we just, there we go, let's do 5s. That's a big one. Oh look, that's Yahtzee. We don't have Yahtzee done though, so let's just put it on the 5s. You can see we have no 1 dices, no 2 dices, no 3, no 4. We have 5 5 dices and 0 6 dices. That's a good example just to kind of see how that's all stationed. So yeah, let us continue. And the next one's going to be bonus, which is actually probably the most simple one. Actually, I didn't even, oh yeah, I did. I was like, did I do bonus in the right order? I just didn't pull it out. So we're going to space it and just do bonus and then paste it. If bonus scores, so in order to get the bonus, your bonus score has to be 63. So you can see we've been tallying up this bonus score every single time. And we're changing that button label 6. If you get more than 63 points, 63 or more, you get 35. Else you get a 0. And then since I did 1 through 6 and that's bonuses, I like to end it, and then we're doing scoring, and this is going to be I think I just literally put rest of scoring. This is where it's going to get a little bit more complicated. I am just going to copy this over each time. And it's exactly how it's written in our dictionary. If we go all the way back up to our dictionary, if it will let me. We're literally just looking at this. So if you're getting an error, maybe you're spelling it wrong, just copy and paste, like so, 3 of a kind. And then scroll all the way down, and then just make sure that these are consistent. So those look the same. So if name of score is 3 of a kind, so we're saying if there's 3 encounters or 4 encounters or 5 encounters, because 3 of a kind, if you are going through all this, you can either have 3 of a kind to get the 3 of a kind, you can have 4 of a kind of dice to get the 4 of a kind, or you could have a Yahtzee and mark it as a 3 of a kind if you don't yet have that score done. So we're looking to see if there's 3 or 4 or 5 dice that are the same with encounters. Number is equal to 1 for num encounters. If num is equal to 0, we're going to pass. And then total is going to be that number times num. And we iterate every time through the counters for number plus 1. So this just lets us know which one, if 3, 4, or 5. And you will, again, see this later, but this is going to be a very consistent thing with the next few. So just keep that in mind. So, however, with 4 of a kind and Yahtzee, it's pretty simple because it gets lower. And again, let me do this. So and then we can do 4 of kind, and we just change that to a 4. And let me just go ahead and bring this over. The difference between 3 of a kind and a 4 of a kind, we get rid of that if 3 encounters, because you can't have 3 of the same dice and that's it and pick 4 of a kind. If you do, you're going to get a 0. Else, this is what the score you get, and we are consistent with that button label is equal to 8, 7, 6, so we're just going down. The next one will be a full house. I like to keep my indentations the same. Full house. And a little bit different than the other ones, but kind of the same concept if we paste that in. If name of score is equal to full house, if this time 3 encounters and 2 encounters. So we need 3 and. So up here we're doing if you have 3 or maybe 4 or maybe 5 dice that are all the same, then this works. For full house, you need 3 dice that are the same and 2 dice that are the same. So you're looking for the kind of difference right there. And for full house, you get a total of 25 regardless. Small straight. The straights are where it gets really complicated, but it all makes sense if you just think about it. So we go back up to those counter 1s, 2s, 3s, 4s, and so on. Basically, we are writing out every kind of instance of a small straight. So I can have a 1, 2, 3, 4 small straight. I can have a, and you can see the ands versus the ors. Or I can have a 2, 3, 4, 5 small straight. Or I can have a 6, 4, 5, 6, and or 6, 5, 4, 3. So basically, I just went backwards on that one. 6, 5, 4, 3. So that's how the small straight is done. And then large straight, you can imagine, is pretty much the same, except a lot more of doing that kind of code. So if I paste this in there, actually it's less code. Oh, because there's less options. That makes sense. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Or 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So there's only 2 options you can do for large straight. And that's a total of 40. This is a total of 30 up here. Everyone's favorite, Yahtzee. again, this is the same thing as 3 of a kind, 4 of a kind. Yahtzee is literally, if 5 dice are the same in counters, then you're going to get a 50. And for this game that I've made, I don't have bonus Yahtzees because, you know, like if you already filled the Yahtzee score and you have another Yahtzee and you go in and you hit like 6 of a kind or something, or not 6 of a kind, 5 of a kind. Wow, I'm all over the place. If you get a Yahtzee and you already have the Yahtzee filled on your scoreboard, and for bonus Yahtzee, so if you go to 3 of a kind, you're supposed to get another 50 points. I do not have that coded in. I like to keep my Yahtzees one and done. That's how I play the game, even though it's not really how you play it. And then lastly, we have chance. Chance, again, very easy. And I'm just going to not do that. I'm going to copy and paste. So we're going to go if name of score is equal to chance. We just kind of iterate through everything. And we get that state disabled. And then we're going to run that create dice at the end of it. So every time we pick a score, we're going to restart all of our dice with 1. So after we pick chance, for example, all of our dice will return to dice 1, dice 1, dice 1, dice 1, dice 1. And we can print the total just to see. So if we go indent level does not match, that is correct. You gotta love when it does that. Is that correct? Yeah. Yep. Okay. So I'll keep this on the side. We have all of our dice. And I'll say, you see all these are disabled. There is a small thing I did not do. And you'll see it here. So we roll. We have a 1, 2, 3. Let's try for a small. Wow. We have 3s. So we got 3 3s. So since we already know what this top part looks like, let's just go ahead and do 3 of a kind. We get 15. Boom. And there's that little printout. That's the total. And then as you see, everything reverts back to 1 dice, and the roll number is 0. However, all of these are enabled. So if I hit Yahtzee now, yes, it would count, but it's cheating. I could go back and disable all of these again, but I have not. You can see 3 of a kind is no longer able to be selected since it is disabled. So now we roll. And don't worry about that. I get that, but the game still works. 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's see if we can't. I'm just going to minimize that. That's going to be annoying. So we got a small straight. Boom. 30. Roll. We got 3s again. Let's just go ahead. Boom. We got Yahtzee. Boom. 1, 2, 3. Let's just go for 2s right now. I'm not really confident in a large straight. We got 3 2s. Let's see if we can't get that bonus to activate real quick. Wow. And we got aces. Let's do some 6s maybe. I want to save those now. Let's do some 4s. I messed up. Let's just chance that. 3s would be a good one. 3s. 6. Yep. And again, yes, 4 of a kind would be really good for this, but I want to try to hit that bonus marker. Just to show you guys that it does update. 5, 5. 5, 3 5s, I'll take that. And then let us try to get some 4s. So you see, I did get above 63 points up here, so I did get the bonus of 35. And then, you know, you can just keep playing around with the game. So large straight I didn't get, turns into a 0. That's a good thing to show. Again, let's just pretend like I didn't get a full house. 0. And then 4 of a kind. Didn't get 0. So at this point, I can continue if you guys really want me to. I can make a pop-up screen that says like, "Hey, your total score was this," and I can add up all these scores, and then it's like play again, and then if you hit yes, it could play again. If no, it deletes the window. So that's really what Yahtzee looks like, and that's really all of it. Again, if you want me to go back and kind of make some finishing touches, I'm open to your suggestions in the comments. Just let me know what you want to see, or if you guys have questions or anything I can answer. I can do like a questions asked, lessons learned kind of deal video. But that is that. Please let me know if you guys like this video by hitting the like button. I'm thinking that the next project I might tackle is Wordle. I already have some good code for that, and it should be pretty short and simple. We're going to use that dynamic buttons again, but I'm thinking that's the next project that we are going to tackle. So thank you again, and have a good rest of your day. See ya.